So I'm on my way. It's been a minute since I made a video, but I'm on my way to show a car right now. And I was thinking about one of the most important things that I need in this industry, and that is a mechanic. So if you're like me and you're not mechanically inclined, like I know the basics. I could do a tune-up on the car. I could, change a tire. Basically, I can do the basics. So I have some idea how to do something to the car, but basically, I rely on my scanner to tell me something's wrong with the car, or my mechanics. Scanner, my mechanic. That's how I get through the obstacle of not knowing much about cars. So what I'm gonna talk about is the steps you need to get you a good mechanic, because that is your lifeline. That's what's gonna get you the best deals. That's what's gonna save you the headaches. That's gonna make sure you're not gonna lose a bunch of money on a car that's no good. So I'm actually I'm on my way right now to go show a car. This car picked up like about a couple days ago, but so I'm on my way to show it right now. And okay, so when it comes to a mechanic, you have to have multiple options, because you want to bounce a couple of quotes off of each other and see who gives you the best price depending on the kind of work. Maybe some mechanics will do bigger projects, others don't even mess with small stuff like that. But that's not most people will do the small stuff and the big stuff, but some can only handle the small stuff. About to show this car, so I'm really gonna put like $5 of gas in here, because that's all you need. The cheap one, 87. I'm literally just gonna put $5 in the tank, just so they can get A to B while I'm showing this car off. And that's it. So when it comes to mechanics, I have 3 mobile mechanics, meaning mechanics that I can call out to my house, come out to the lot, and work on cars for me, which is super beneficial because they come to me, and because I built up a relationship with them, they can do the work, and they don't really charge me a diagnostic fee, or different. They cut me some slack on a lot of the stuff that they work on, so that works out in my favor. So I have 3 mobile mechanics, then I have 2 shops that I work with, so that's 5. Well, yeah, there's about 5 different mechanics that I can go to get work done on my car. Well, technically, 1 mechanic works outside of the shop, and then he has his shop, so maybe 4. So it's good to have that many, or at least 2 to 3 mechanics that you can count on, so you could at least get an estimate for how much the work's going to cost. And if they're friendly enough, that maybe you can even, while it's on the lot, have them give you some information about the cars that you're looking at. Talking about prices of the repair of the vehicle, whatever it is. When it comes to body shops, that's another thing I actually need to work on. I need to build up some relationships with body shops, because I don't have one I don't have only one spot. I don't have like a second option when it comes to body repair. So it's good to have multiple mechanics. And speaking of body shops, you should check out what I got here. It is not, I made a mistake and I got this car. So I picked up this car online. See that? Clearly there's a problem there. We got 2 colored doors, but that's what happens when you make a mistake. So I was online, and I bought this car fully online. I never saw it in person, nothing like that. And when I was looking at the pictures, I was scrolling through it. It was a live auction. The engine, everything was guaranteed, like boom, boom, everything's looking good. And just a quick scroll of the pictures, I didn't really pay attention, and I got a car with the 2 different colored doors. So yeah, and for the price that I got it for and the price I'm looking to sell, it's not even worth fixing. So there's that, but we got a good deal, so I'll get a little profit off of that either way. But just a little word to the wise: when you're bidding online only, a lot of these imperfections on the vehicle, like this one, big imperfection, they might, slip by. So it is good to see the cars in person for sure. I do see them in person, then bid online. That's not an issue, but bidding fully online and not seeing anything, I wouldn't risk it like I did. But lesson learned, I won't do that again, or just pay better attention. Either way, I'll get some money. No complaints. So back to the mechanics. So about making connections with mechanics. So honestly, I found a lot of my mechanics on what the fuck is this thing? On Craigslist. And I would not suggest it. But yes, I found my mechanics on Craigslist. I found a couple mechanics on Craigslist, what I like to call mobile mechanics that would come out to me. And I would not suggest doing it that way, but that's how I did it, and it worked. And if you're gonna do it that way, be very, very careful, because I've yet to come across a problem, well, with the ones that I've come across, but I have horror stories, and it's not good. So I have literally my brother-in-law, he hits me up, he calls me up one day, he says, hey, I have an issue with my car, I need a mechanic. Do you have your mechanics? So they come out? I'm like, yeah. So I give them 2 numbers of 2 mechanics that I use. One, he's on holiday, he's on vacation, he can't come through. 2, the other guy, he's just not answering his phone, he's probably, asleep, whatever. It was a weekend, so he's probably asleep, hanging out with his family, was taking business calls. So then he goes, oh man. I was like, all right. So I, called him back. Did you get any response from my mechanics? Did they call you back? He says, no response. The other one's busy. I was like, oh man, okay. So he's like, maybe I'll have to wait for the weekend. And we'll just leave it at that. So I get a phone call. This is later at night. So he initially tried to look for a mechanic around 11 a.m. in the morning. And then by 8 p.m., I get a phone call. All right. He tells me I got jacked. I was like, what? What do you mean you got jacked? He goes, they robbed me. I was like, who robbed you? So what happened was he took it upon himself to go through Craigslist and go through a mechanic. So he found himself a mobile mechanic on Craigslist. And the issue he had was basically he had a Jetta, Volkswagen Jetta, 2007 Volkswagen Jetta. And someone had tried to steal it from his driveway. So they went in there, they got a screwdriver, jammed it in the keyhole, they broke the ignition switch, and they tried to steal his car basically. But they weren't able to because it had, anti-theft security or something. And they weren't able to steal it. So what ended up happening was they just took off. So he comes out, Saturday, probably to go get some groceries or something. And he gets to his car and he sees, holy crap, someone tried to steal my ride. So he's thinking to himself like, oh man, what can I do? And that's when he calls me up saying he has a mechanical issue. He can't turn his car on because they broke the ignition switch. Now, this is the thing about German cars. So when you got a German car, it tends to be a little more pricier to fix than, your American cars or Japanese cars. So he's thinking, damn, I need to get a mechanic. He knows I work with mechanics. He goes, fine. Just hit my mechanics up and we'll get it handled. It's birds twerping. So when I couldn't come through with a mechanic for him, he got desperate. He had work on Monday and he's like, I need to get this fixed ASAP. So he's thinking to himself, what can I do? What can I do? So when I couldn't come through with a mechanic for him, he decided to take matters to his own hands. So he looked on Craigslist, and for his area, he started Googling mobile mechanic, just mechanic on Craigslist, until he came across a guy by the name of Paul. And Paul said, oh yeah, I could definitely work on your car and check it out. And he said it'd only be $50 for me to come out to the house, and I'll come check out the car for you. And that's pretty standard for a mobile mechanic. They'll charge you anywhere from as low as 30 all the way up to $75. Come out and just do a diagnostic check on the vehicle and see what's going on, what's wrong with it, if anything's wrong with it. And usually what they'll do is they'll say things like, if we find anything wrong with your vehicle, that 75, 30, whatever it is for the diagnostic will go toward fixing it. So that makes sense. So people do that. So apparently the guy came out to his house, and the guy came out to his house, take a look at the vehicle. He had tools with him, but I was told like the suspicious part about him, he was driving a car, he wasn't driving a truck. So he just had a little Toyota Corolla car, and then he had a bag of tools. So him and his girlfriend roll up. I was other thing, he rolled up with his girl. So he rolled up with his girlfriend to the house. He had his little bag of tools. He comes out, looks at the car, and he goes, okay. He spends a good 10-15 minutes inside the car, looking around, ducking his head, seeing what is on there, looking up and down. And then he tells him, all right, so I can fix your car, I'm just gonna need the key. I just gotta take this part to the warehouse, and in the warehouse I can identify the part and have it replaced, but I need the key so they can know which one we're dealing with. He goes, also it's gonna be $900 and probably another $800 to make sure the key's programmed correctly. So my guy's looking like, that's suspicious. Him and his wife are like, you're not gonna rob us or anything, right? He goes, no, nothing like that. The only way they could fix this ignition, because it's such a it's a foreign car, is to get this switch fixed with this key. It needs to be programmed, yada yada yada. Understand? So they're really like, I don't know, I should hand you $1,000 and keys to my car. I don't know. So he's like, yeah. So they took a picture of his car, his license plate, and he's like, all right, and he just took off, right? So an hour, 2 hours passed by. He texts him, hey, on your way? No text messages. 3 hours, he texts him, hey, you on your way back? He gets text message. He replies with text message, yes, I'm coming. I'm still there. A lot of traffic. I'm almost there. 4 hours passed by. Now, when he came over, it was probably around 1 o'clock. So 4 hours later, it's around 5 p.m. They're getting kind of like, it's been 4 hours. I don't know how far he's going, but he should be at least on his way back. So they hit him back up at 6 o'clock. Every hour they hit him like, hey, what's going on? So again, every hour, 1 hour, we're hitting him up, hey, what's going on? No answer. So now they start getting with the real threats, like, hey, we're gonna call the police, you robbed us, what's our money? The craziest thing is the guy had the audacity at like 8 o'clock at night to be like, hey, sorry, I didn't take your money, you don't need, I'm coming back. The place was closed when I got there. So I mean, at that point you're so desperate, like you want to take a little comfort in any kind of like, even the hint, the slightest bit that there's a chance that you were not just robbed. But once again, that was a lie, because next morning, once again, they hit him up like, hey, what's going on? Where's our money? What on that? He was gone. Filed a police report, and my brother-in-law was a little, he's you can say he's a go-getter. He was mad, and he was on. He's like, I have to find this guy. I can't believe this guy did it to us. I can't believe I'm a victim of crime. I can't believe I lost $1,000. So he's looking everywhere. He somehow found him on Facebook. Found the guy who robbed him on Facebook, this mechanic or fake mechanic, wherever he was pretending to be. Found him on Facebook, tracked down family members, found his girlfriend, and then from there somehow tracked down other victims of this guy. And coming to find out, this guy would bounce between California and Nevada back and forth, pretending to be a mechanic, robbing people of their money and then just taking off to the other states. So he was in California. Most likely, after he robbed them of that $1,000, he went down to Nevada, Vegas, whatever, and him and his girlfriend, that's just their scam. They're going back and forth. So they filed a police report, and that was the end of that. So basically, the moral of the story is be careful of mobile mechanics. And yeah, I never had that issue, but you have to be wary of, something like that could happen. There's people who pretend to be mechanics, and it's cash business. A lot of times they just take your cash money and they're gone. So you have to worry about that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a cash business, and a lot of times you have to worry about things like that. And your best option, honestly, is go to a shop, start just chatting up with the mechanics there, build a relationship. If you know someone who knows someone who's a mechanic, a lot of people know mechanics, and just build relationships there, network, and they'll tell you other mechanics you could work with, or people local to you, so they can come out, some people starting off, they could do the small stuff for you, tune up if you don't want to do it, just a small minor, work. You can have like inexperienced mechanics do this stuff up, and then you have major issues with your car, you could have other people work on that. But I found my mobile mechanic. I was lucky with Craigslist. I was careful about it, and I got lucky. One guy was like an ex technician for Toyota. The other guy, he worked at a high-end mechanic. He worked for a high-end like shop, and they worked on all Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and he just on his own time did his own jobs, and that's what he came work with me. So that's how I work with those mechanics, and I have a couple shops that are local to me. Oh yeah, so fast forward like 5 months later, that fake mechanic, my brother-in-law tells me, got caught. He got a letter in the mail to be summoned to be, a witness for his guy's trial, because the law finally caught up to him. And yeah, his ass got arrested. I don't know what his, how he was sentenced to or anything like that, but yeah, they caught up to him in his thieving ways. But I would imagine that's not his first time being locked up. So slow advice to mechanics, and how to pick a good mechanic, or where to look for a good mechanic, or just why you should have multiple mechanics, just so you can bounce price points off, because no two mechanics might do a tune-up for the same amount, or fix an AC, busted AC. So we got to worry about that stuff.